find the limit of inverse tangent of absolute value of x plus absolute value of y divided by x squared plus y squared. Let us apply polar coordinates. Remember that x is r cosine theta and y is r sine theta, and since you are going to approach to the origin, your r approaches 0. It means that you're shrinking around the origin. R goes to 0. So I'm going to substitute. This limit becomes the limit of inverse tangent of absolute value of r cosine theta plus absolute value of r sine theta divided by r squared cosine squared of theta plus r squared sine squared of theta. Now let's just simplify, all right? Simplify as much as you can because we want to analyze this limit. We get the limit of inverse tangent of, you can here factor out absolute value of r. You end up with absolute value of cosine theta plus absolute value of sine theta divided by r squared cosine squared of theta plus sine squared of theta as r goes to 0. Well, this guy is equal to the limit of inverse tangent of absolute value of r times absolute value of cosine theta plus absolute value of sine theta divided by r squared, because this is trig identity and this 1. As you take the limit, r goes to 0 from right or r goes to 0 from left, this limit is equal to inverse tangent of a positive quantity divided by 0. This is inverse tangent of a positive quantity over 0, which is inverse tangent of infinity, and we all know the behavior of inverse tangent. Inverse tangent positive infinity is equal to pi over 2. Recall that if you have the tangent function on one interval between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, for example, just look at the behavior of tangent over one interval. Why we are using one interval? Because on this interval, the tangent is 1 to 1. So you can define the inverse. The inverse function, which as you remember, is inverse tangent, which behaves like this. But as x goes to infinity, your function getting closer and closer to pi over 2. So inverse tangent, this is your inverse tangent function, and this is your tangent function. So inverse tangent as x goes to infinity becomes pi over 2. That's how we have pi over 2 as the limit of this two-variable function.